I have three books: War and Peace, The Red and the Black, and I'll give you a special answer: Ulysses, which I've read 5 times, and I can't finish it 5 times.
And why? Can you explain it a little bit?
Because I was a teacher for many years, and I used to say to my students, give every book that you read the 50-page test. Read 50 pages, and if you don't like it, put it down. And I believe that's true. So I have read War and Peace, the first 50 pages, 20 times, and I put it down. And the same thing with Ulysses. I could never, and when I was in university and when I was in graduate school, everybody was saying read, and I couldn't read it. But I would like to, the one book that I really would like to read is The Red and the Black, which very smart people that I know say is very important. And maybe before they put the dirt over my face, I'll finish it. The truth of the matter is that I didn't know what to write. I mean, I wrote about half of it, and then I just lost my way. And I have an agreement with myself that when I start to not like writing, I stop. And when I stop and I do something else, then I'm more happy to go back to it, and that's what happened with this. Walking the dog. Nothing, and you know, and it's nice. You know, normally what's been happening over the years is I've read a book about every year and a half or 2 years, and this time it was just I got to a point where I just didn't know what I wanted to say, and I just stopped. And so I traveled and thought about other things and all that, and when I came back to the book I was happier than when I left the book. I often refer to that book as an Italian mistress. When she's in a good mood, she's fabulous, but when she's in a bad mood, she starts throwing shoes at you. That's what I thought of that book. It was both. It was very good and it was very bad, and I was very glad to finish it. It's almost superstition. I come up with a title first, and then I write the book around it. With this book, the title was originally going to be The House Inside the Horse, which is something that I use in the story. And the reason why I wanted to call it that was I once was walking through a park and I saw a child's drawing of a horse with a house sitting in it. And I thought, that's wonderful, I love that. So I went home and I wrote it down, and for the longest time this book was called The House Inside the Horse. But then I thought I like Bathing the Lion more, so I went to that. Never. I mean, Jacek is my translator, and he'll say to me sometimes, it doesn't work. You know, we can't do it in Polish, and so he and I will go back and forth, and he usually wins because he's the boss. A friend of mine who's a writer once said, reading my books was like petting a lion that's asleep. Petting a tiger that's asleep. It's very sensual, and it's almost sexual, but be very careful when it wakes up. And the same thing is true with this book. I think that home is where you're most comfortable. And I came to Europe because I was a teacher. And then I started writing the books, and then the books were successful so I could stop teaching. And I went back to America in the middle 90s for 2 years to write movies in Hollywood. And it was a really interesting experience because I really liked it. I really liked being in America, and that but was why I finally said I don't want to do this anymore and I'll go back. So obviously Europe for me is better. Best soup and the book that preceded that was me trying to sum up what I think happens to us in the afterlife, and kind of a visionary way of saying this is what I think happens when we die. And I realized after I had written the first book, White Apples, that I wasn't finished yet. So I said I've got to move these characters a little bit further into their story to for me to finish the whole idea. And what was interesting was that people have gotten very angry at me. They say the first book is the woman's story, the second book is the man's story, the third book should be the child's story. Where is it? And I go, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever write it.